Hello, welcome to News Round, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. Let's get the top stories now. There's work to be done. The President tells newly appointed service chiefs at first meeting is the appointment on June 19, 2023. And principal officers emerge in both chambers of the National Assembly. President Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress closed their defense in petition filed by Mr. Peter Obi and the Labour Party. APC star witness tells courts there's no record of criminal proceedings, conviction of Senator Bola Tinubu in the United States. Plus, at least 17 people, including 3 children, killed in toxic gas leak in South Africa. That's News Round in view. We'll begin News Round with national security matters. The President asking the newly appointed service chiefs to work as a team, as there's a lot of work to be done. President Bola Tinubu made the remark during his first formal engagement with the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Rabadu, the service chiefs and the IGP since their appointment on June the 19th, 2023.
Exactly 2 weeks after the appointment of a new national security advisor and new service chiefs by President Bola Tinubu, they arrived the presidential villa for the first time on a thank-you visit.
I'm coming. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
In the president's office, the security chiefs, including the Inspector General of Police, flanked the president, not oblivious of the quantum of work expected of them. Before the new appointments, the president had met with the former service chiefs only a month ago and demanded stronger security coordination, a demand the new appointees vowed to accomplish.
We also pledge our loyalty to him and to Nigeria and Nigerians. We believe that the choice he made is the right one, the correct one. We know what he wants for this country. We are going to work tirelessly to ensure that we accomplish that objective of securing our country, establishing peace, stability, and let's get our lives back. He gave us the assurance that he is with us 100%. He told us that we must work as a team, and there is a work to be done. He will expect us to deliver. And you can see already things are improving in our country. If you see the record of crimes and activities of the criminals, it's going down. It will continue to go down. We will secure this place.
Earlier in the day, President Bola Tinubu met privately with the former governor of Zamfara State, Ahmed Yerima. The former governor, who was in office between 1999 to 2007, told correspondents that the subject of dialogue with bandits was part of the conversation with the president.
Why I say we should start discussing with them is to avoid the collateral damages that may come up if intensive and extensive military operations are directed. But that should be the last option. And I'm not saying that the government should just continue to just negotiate indefinitely. No, I said invite them. There are people who repent. And if you recall, Mr. President Umar Musa Adwa had similar interaction with the militants in Niger Delta, and it was successful.
The former governor of Zamfara State, who mooted the idea only days ago about negotiating with the bandits, also disclosed that President Tinubu sought his intervention in the current feud between Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State and his predecessor, Mr. Bello Matawali. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And it appears some of the decisions taken in the twilight of the immediate past government may be coming under the spotlight of the current administration. One of them is the concessioning of the Aminu Kano and Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, which the Senate is set to probe. According to the upper chamber, the process of concessioning the airports were not executed transparently.
Nigeria's aviation sector is once again on the front burner of discussions in the National Assembly. This time, attention is on the concessioning of the Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano. The last time the Senate discussed matters surrounding the sector was in the twilight of the 9th Senate, when the Aviation Committee lampooned the rollout of the nation's national carrier, Nigeria Air.
Mr. President.
During Thursday's plenary session, Senator Sumaila Kawu moved a motion that the concessioning of the Aminu Kano International Airport was not executed transparently. It's an opinion shared by a majority of legislators.
Observes that the faulty gaps inherent in the concession will lead to RE of lawsuit and thereby embarrassing the current administration. Mr. President, accordingly, I am urging this Senate to condemn in strong terms the concession of Malam Kano International Airport as it was done, and it was not done in public interest.
Why do you concede? You do it because of some parameters laid. But this particular concession was done in a dubious manner, in a manner that begets any imagination.
Some lawmakers also condemned the concessioning of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, questioning some of the actions carried out by the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari in the aviation sector.
So many things have been done wrong in the outgoing or the previous administration. It is not only Malam Kano International Airport, but all concessions done hurriedly and without following due process should be thoroughly investigated, reversed, and actions taken about it.
The Senate resolved to direct its Committee on Aviation, when constituted, to probe the concessioning of the Aminu Kano and Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airports.
The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the Senate intends to investigate a gas processing deal involving the Ministry of Finance, Niger Delta Power Holding Company, Calabar Generation Company Limited, and Akogas Limited.
The then Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Dr. Mrs. Zainab Hamid, initiated a make-up gas mug reprocessing deal involving Calabar Genco and Akogas Limited. Further observed that the controversial mug deal was devoid of transparency and allegedly involved the payment of huge sums as fees to the transaction advisors.
The upper chamber is urging the federal government to ensure due diligence in the preparation and execution of transaction agreements with investors to avoid the scenario the federal government is facing under the gas supply agreement with Akogas and several other entities. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
And staying with the National Assembly, where the 10th session appears to be taking shape with the appointment of the principal officers in both chambers. In the upper chamber, following the resumption of legislative proceedings after a 2-week recess, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, announced Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele from Ekiti State as Senate Leader and Senator Dave Umahi from Ebonyi State as Deputy Senate Leader. Similarly, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, also announced Honorables Julius Iore of Edo State and Kingsley Chinda from River State as the majority and minority leaders in the lower chamber of the National Assembly.
It's back to work for these senators who are resuming after a 2-week recess to allow them settle down for the task ahead. They had gone on break a day after the inauguration of the 10th Assembly. The day in the Red Chamber begins with the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, announcing the names of the principal officers from the majority All Progressives Congress, whom he says emerged by consensus.
APC, the All Progressive Congress, caucus of the Senate, after due consultations, have emerged with their leadership, which will be the fulcrum of commencing other businesses in the chambers. So I'm happy to announce that by consensus, the Senate leader is Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele. He will be the majority leader of the Senate and the Senate leader. Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume will be the chief whip of the 10th Senate. Senator David Umahi by your consent, will act as the deputy leader, and Senator Oyorola Isha Ashiru will be the deputy chief whip.
He is ready to announce the names of the principal officers from the minority parties, but it appears some senators want further discussion on this matter, prompting the Senate President to call for an executive session.
So we'll go for a 10-minute closed session before further announcement.
Curiously, all principal officers in the minority leadership are all former lawmakers in the House of Representatives and none from the Senate. But the emergence of the principal officers in the minority appears to have ruffled the feathers of some senators from minority parties.
Of the Federal Republic and of Nigeria on a minority party, and a minority leader has emerged without even sending me a text message that I'm seeking for your vote or your concurrence, support to be a minority leader. What type of parties are we having in PDP? We have 36 out of the 50 senators that are in the minority caucus, and then we cannot even come together and agree who should lead us.
The position that went to Senator Hanga should have gone to somebody out of from the minority from a different state, so as to continue to balance, because the Deputy Senate Presidency is already in Kano.
Plenary resumes in the House of Representatives after a 3-week holiday to allow members settle down to their new responsibility as federal lawmakers. The Speaker welcomes his colleagues with a speech.
I must acknowledge the swift action taken by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in injecting fresh ideas into the security sector for the appointment of new security chiefs. We hope the new security chiefs will respond to the security situations with the urgency it requires. On our part, we will provide the required legislative support in the defense of our nation.
He then reads 2 letters containing the names of the majority and minority leadership of the House.
Honorable Julius Ehobere, APC Edo, as majority leader. Honorable Halems Abdullahi, APC Kogi, as Deputy Majority Leader. Number 1, Honorable Kingsley Chinda has been nominated as the Minority Leader, and he is from the party PDP extraction. Honorable Ali Hussain Madaki, Guinea, as Deputy Minority Leader from the NNPP.
Honorable Kingsley Chinda's emergence comes 4 years after the Speaker of the 9th House, Femi Gbajabiamila, refused to recognize his nomination by the PDP on the grounds that there were other minority parties who had put forward their own nominations. Honorable Kingsley Chinda is a loyalist of the immediate past governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, who appears to have formed an alliance with the ruling All Progressives Congress. This is a concern for a member of the party and former spokesperson of the Atiku presidential campaign organization.
Kingsley Chinda is an apologist of Wike. Wike is doing his youth service with APC. Wike's spirit, soul, and body is with APC. So if the leadership of the party is an appendage of Nyesom Wike, for example, how confident will I be that such an individual will pose opposition? Wike is as alleged, is looking for juicy appointment in this government. He would ordinarily not want people associated with him to be a problem to the government.
The diversity in both chambers of the National Assembly has produced a minority leadership to include the New Nigeria People's Party and the Labour Party. However, of interest is the fact that only one female lawmaker has been named as member of the leadership of the House, specifically the majority All Progressives Congress.
Our news round returns. President Tinubu, APC and Defense, and Labour Party and PDP petitions. Details in a moment. You stay with us. Welcome back. We'll now go to the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, where the court appears to be wrapping up its hearing. This week, the President and the All Progressives Congress closed a defense in a petition filed by the Labour Party and its presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, as well as the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar.
As usual, the courtroom is filled with lawyers and supporters of the Labour Party, the People's Democratic Party, the All Progressives Congress, President Bola Tinubu, and INEC. What has been a lengthy legal battle across party lines is now reaching its climax as parties involved in the petition conclude their cases before the presidential election petition sitting in Abuja. At Wednesday's hearing, counsel to President Bola Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress end their defense in the petition by the Labour Party, with a call on one witness, the current Senate Majority Leader, Senator Okpayemi Bamidele. The witness, who is a practicing attorney in New York, United States, says there can only be one conviction when there's a charge and indictment. He adds that the U.S. Embassy did a general criminal search on President Tinubu and found no criminal case against him. He further tells the court about a shortfall of 10,929 votes in the votes recorded for President Bola Tinubu in Kano State. Counsel to President Tinubu, Wole Olanipekun, also tenders 18 sets of documents, including the Labour Party's membership register for Anambra State, which the witness confirms did not contain the Labour Party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi's name. This, according to him, indicates that he was not a member of the party at the time of contesting the last presidential election. The team also tendered the ECOWAS report on the election. Meanwhile, counsel to Mr. Peter Obi, Levi Ozuko, objects to the admission of the documents, but the court admits them. Counsel to the APC, Lateef Fagbemi, also closes his case, stating that his client is satisfied.
Now, it's very simple. The membership of His Excellency Peter Obi has been determined by the Federal High Court, and they went on to Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal confirmed the decision of the Federal High Court. So it's a no issue. It's a judgment in rem. It's a no issue.
Back in the courtroom, the petition of the People's Democratic Party is next. President Tinubu's witness in the Labour Party's petition, Senator Okpayemi Bamidele, takes the stand once again. Under cross-examination, he tells the court that the president did not need to score 25% in the FCT to be declared winner of the election. Meanwhile, counsel to the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, Eyitayo Jagede, says Senator Tinubu will be the first person to emerge as president without scoring 25% of the votes in the FCT, and the only one who lost his state at the presidential election out of the 4 major presidential candidates. Shortly after, the counsel to the president and the APC, Wole Olanipekun, and Lateef Fagbemi announced the closure of their defense in the PDP Atiku petition. The 5-man panel, led by Justice Haruna Samani, subsequently orders the respondents to file their written addresses within 10 days and the petitioners to respond within 7 days. Date for the adoption of the final written addresses is to be communicated to the parties.
And still on legal matter, the Presidential Election Petition Court has admitted as exhibits the Chicago State University credentials of President Bola Tinubu. The president formally opened his defense in a petition filed against his election victory by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate, Abubakar Atiku.
The courtroom is again filled to capacity as the All Progressives Congress opened its defense in the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party challenging the election of President Bola Tinubu. Through his lead counsel, Wole Olanipekun, President Tinubu tendered his Chicago State University credentials and his U.S. visa documents to prove that he visited the United States of America unhindered between 2011 and 2021. President Tinubu, who tendered the documents to debunk allegations of criminality contained in the petition against him, also made available to the court all documents of the Nigeria Immigration Service which cleared him for the U.S. trips.
Also admitted as exhibits by the court are the United States of America's embassy letter of April 4, 2003, which is a response to a letter of the Nigerian police dated February 3, 2003, which claimed that the embassy had no criminal records of Tinubu in the United States of America. The documents were admitted despite objections against their admissibility by the PDP and the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. However, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and the All Progressives Congress (APC), who are first and third respondents in the petition, did not object to the admission of all the documents. Besides the educational records, the court further admitted an originating summons of a suit instituted at the Supreme Court by the Attorneys General of Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo and Sokoto states, challenging the educational background of President Tinubu to stand for the 2023 presidential election. Earlier in the day, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) closed its defense in the petition filed by the Labour Party after calling one witness at the Presidential Election Petitions Court. The witness, Lawrence Bayode, an ICT expert who admitted that some of the results downloaded from INEC's portal were blurred. He, however, insisted on the cross-examination that the results of the presidential election released by the Commission are authentic. Lawyer to the Labour Party, Mr. Patrick Ikweto, disagrees, saying the results cannot be authentic when they are largely unreadable.
INEC has called their ICT director, who came to, justify what INEC did by way of what they said, the glitches that occurred, how they tried to fix the glitches, how they deployed patches to fix the glitches. So, apart from this issue of technological glitches, there would have been no problem with the election.
Further hearing in the petition has been adjourned to the 5th of July by the presiding justice of the court, Justice Haruna Samani.
And a group of Nigerians under the aegis of Coalition of Civil Society Organization and Political Parties for Good Governance stormed the European Union office in Abuja to protest against its report on the 2023 presidential election. Protesters, who were seen with several placards carrying different inscriptions, marched through the central area to the European Union's headquarters in the Federal Capital Territory.
Singing songs of solidarity, members of a civil society coalition marched through the streets of Abuja to register their displeasure with the report of the European Union criticizing the 2023 general elections. The peaceful march terminates at the headquarters of the European Union, where leaders of the group addressed officials of the Union.
We have come to register unequivocally that we are not satisfied with the report of the European Union. As a matter of fact, we are of the opinion that the report is not just ridiculous, but a deliberate act to slight the Nigerian entity, and of course, by implication, our leaders and the government of Nigeria.
Particularly now that we are grappling with fundamental issues of insecurity, there is no way European Union will beat her chest and say she's in love with Nigeria and she's in love in seeing the progress of this country, and also at the same time come to add salt to injury. It shouldn't be.
With a promise from the political advisor at the union to relay the message of the protesters, the group take their leave. At a separate event, the Inter-Party Advisory Council aligns with the protesters as they believe INEC deserves commendation for conducting credible elections.
IPAC is of the opinion that the 2023 general election was one of the most meticulously prepared for in recent times. Also, the unprecedented enthusiasm demonstrated by the Nigerian youth who trooped out in their numbers despite structural and procedural challenges were largely responsible for some of the positive developments. INEC should be praised for the technological innovations introduced, especially in the accreditation of voters using the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, which has generally been scored very high by voters.
The European Union Election Observation Mission to Nigeria had in its final report faulted the 2023 general election, stating violence, killing and vote buying as some of the factors for its criticism.
We end news round with the tragic news where at least 17 people have been killed after a suspected leak of nitrate oxide gas at an informal settlement in Boksburg, east of Johannesburg, South Africa. The victims, including women and children, died from gas inhalation linked to illegal gold mining in the area. Nitrate oxide gas is often used by illegal gold miners, known locally as zama-zamas, to extract gold from soil stolen from abandoned mine shafts.
The scene was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. I regretted why we have to go through that scene. It was heartbreaking. So it's something that we might need assistance personally. I thought initially it was just an explosion in one area, but you can see people were running away from the scene, and then they started to fall as they're trying to get areas where they can escape.
And that's News Round for the week. Thank you for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Bye for now.